the challenge of being last in a session is always want to add on what everybody said. So I have to focus now on just mine, but I just want to say thank you to Francois that already explain the gap that I'm going to talk about today, and that is being a nature protected area, want to make money, but they need tourists. And that outlet is conservation, and that's exactly what I'm going to talk about. And then also have the view of tourists concerning this. Okay. Where? Where is that? Okay. That's it. So we all know that tourism has become a prominent global industry, especially after COVID as well. People behavior has changed, their travel patterns has changed, but with million traveling to natural areas every year, the experience is very, they seek that unique experience of environments and wildlife. And I think all of us can agree that that has changed. And while tourism is bringing that economic benefit and raise of awareness in terms of conservation, it impacts on the environment and wildlife conservation remains debated. And I think you will agree that we can take the whole morning debating the impact of tourists in protected areas. Should they be there or shouldn't they not be, or should they not be there? But that is what I try to investigate, and as Lizette also with her study on the elephants, is we try to establish the perceptions, the value of a species to tourists, and what that value is. And that is what I talked about last year when I was here. But while realizing that value, what is then the tourist attempt or willingness or a voice to get engaged into conservation? Now, as I said, tourists has positive and negative impacts on conservation, and there's so many case studies that we can, from literature, that we can demonstrate. But I think being conservationist, you all know what the impacts are, and that the positive impacts is obviously the generating of income to make that money. And the outflow of that is then conservation. We need tourists, we need that money. Then raising awareness about conservation, I don't think this is utilized enough. Because if we understand tourist behavior, we understand their motives, we understand what they're willing to do, we can utilize that willingness to help in our conservation efforts. But if we don't know what they think about, it's usually, and all the things that I'm talking about today, you all know. But scientifically, this has been proven that they are willing to help with conservation and awareness. Now, the relationship between this tourist and conservation is very complex. And if we don't satisfy tourists in their experience by being in a wildlife surrounding, they will not return. And we need that return visits again to get that economic benefit. So responsible tourism can lead to long-term benefits for both the tourist and the conservation efforts behavior. And this is what we are busy with a lot of our research, is to try to get that balance, because the majority of people here today is very focused on being responsible. And I think every one of us want that responsibility. We want more elephants in the Knysna bush. We want more seahorses in the Knysna lagoon. But we also want people to experience that in a responsible manner. So just quick what we did in terms of the research. The population consists of national and international overnight visits to the Kruger National Park during the December 2020 holiday. It was decided to conduct a structured interview to gain in-depth information And the first section of the interview schedule was designed just to get general profile of each participant, followed by the sections designed to establish their perception and their voice concerning rhino conservation. It was qualitative, as I said, and the data was then transcribed into text and presented in narrative form, and we use Creswell to analyze the data. Oopsie. Okay, George, how's my time? Okay, 10 minutes. Okay, so the people that we interviewed were mainly male, older than 40 years. The province, they reside from Gauteng mainly, and traveled in a travel group of more than 2 people. Their favorite part obviously was the Kruger National Park, but they also visited Pilanesberg and Adu. And with no surprise, their favorite species were the big 5, except for wild dogs. Wild dogs were also indicated as their favorite species. They mainly spoke Afrikaans and English, and these visitors were mainly repeat visitors. They were the visitors that visited the park for a long period of time, and they were very passionate about their park and their animals. So when we then asked them in terms of conservation, how would they like to contribute, would they be willing to be part of it, it was very emotional, and it was very strong responses. Obviously, based on the research that was done on the rhino, it's a very sensitive topic, so people are very passionate about that. And it was very heartfelt to see that people want to help. Responses that we got is something like helping with policing, keep information on rhinos to a minimum on social media. People realize the responsibility of keeping sensitive information out of social media, and being sensitive about that. People want to, and this is not proven, but I know all of you also have seen this, that people are more likely to engage protecting animals as for people. So they're very fierce when it comes to animals, and they want to report someone that has a behavior that's like, no, I don't know if he has to be here or things like that. So they want to help in terms of policing. Governance and management, in terms of talking to management, communities, and how they can help with strategies in conservation and especially with poaching. Awareness. People felt that parks and protected areas are not doing enough to put out the word in terms of awareness. What is going on in terms of poaching and conservation? And I think the days are over to have pamphlets and things that we have to read what conservation is all about, and we have to think really creative on how we're going to be able to make people more aware of what's going on. But they want to be part of it. And as we heard yesterday, social media is a wonderful platform on doing that. Then also contributing to funding towards conservation. Yay, this is very good news. They want to give money. People want to contribute to conservation. So we have to create platforms which is safe, and also have a reputable nature where people can give their money, know that their money go to specific things, specific causes, and that was actually the only thing that they said. I will contribute money if I know where it goes and what it will be used for. And then also someone said she will pray for us, so we were very glad about that. So when we put all these responses into themes, we got 3 themes, and the most important one was awareness, governance and management of the conservation, and then also funding. Now, just to summarize, we talked about who the respondents were, but the primary motives of these visitors are to be in nature. Thank you. These visitors to parks, we do have a new market coming into a natural protected areas after COVID, but the traditional market as well as the established market in terms of people going to nature want to conserve. They are very well informed, they know what's going on, and they want to share this knowledge and this experience with other people. The value of the Big Five has been illustrated as the result, as stated as the most favorable animal to encounter, and add significantly to the experience of the tourist. Now, having said this, we can use this importance that people give to a specific species to also motivate them to be involved in awareness campaigns and so forth. And especially to rhinos. They indicated also that awareness of conservation as well as the governance and management of conservation are important factors to withstand poaching, and tourists do not trust the government, and privatization was proposed as an alternative conservation model. Now, the recommendations in terms of this is just, it's very quick and but we could talk a lot about this, and we are busy with studies looking at the influence of media into conservation and especially rhino poaching. We are busy with studies in terms of awareness campaigns. How should awareness campaigns look like? So there's so many things that we still want to engage in to make the impact of tourists more positive than negative. So there is support of the tourists to the conservation of rhinos in terms of assistance in awareness campaigns, interpretation centers, etc. And I must agree, the community is a valuable stakeholder because nobody else will tell you how to communicate with people than the people themselves. So I think there's a lot of scope for research on how to reach people on a level and a platform that they want, which they will engage to. Participants said that the criminals and poachers should be exposed and examples should be made. This is a part of the awareness. People were very adamant that poachers should be dealt with in a more publical manner, so that people can say, this is the poachers, this is how they've been dealt with, and this is, the communities also know how to deal with these people and have the communication on, this is positive behavior, this is negative behavior, and this is the results. Okay, so recover faith in the management efforts operated by the park management by demolishing corruption and severe penalties for offenders. There's a lot of hope in terms of turning corruption around and having structures that work for us. So there's a lot of hope still out there. So and it begins here with just a little step, and taking people like tourists and make them part of this changing environment. And then also, I think very important is to have a reliable and reputable platform that people can have the opportunity to invest in conservation. And that's my story. Thank you so much.